Hi, it's Jess here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So I'm here today with a tutorial for a special sort of inking technique that I've used in the Ink Stamp Share blog hop. So this is the showcase blog hop where we kind of share anything that we're working on, and I'm playing with inks. So I made this card using a sort of an inky technique, and it's something that I've been playing with acrylic paint, but now I've done it with our Stampin' Up inks. So I'm gonna sort of recreate this, but I'm gonna make it with different colors, gonna make it more vintagey, and I'm gonna do a little different sentiment. Okay, so you might sort of vaguely recognize that little pattern there. It's from our masks. So we have a set of masks. We have 4 of them. This one's my favorite and the one I tend to use a lot. I use it in my junk journals because I just think it has that sort of vintage look. I also quite like that one. I've used that quite a bit. And then the other 2, which are in the packet because I use them least of all, are the one that's got dots on and the one that's got sort of tree trunks on. So that's the dotty one, and that's the tree trunk one. And you can ink through these and you know, sort of use them as stencils, and I've used them on my gel plate as well. So that's what we're doing today. I wanted to show how we can use Stampin' Up products with sort of mixed media stuff. So I've got a gel plate, and this is a gel plate. So I've seen lots and lots of different tutorials using these. They come in different sizes, but I put one of these on my Christmas wish list, and I just went for the little 6x6 one because I wasn't sure if I would use it very much, and so I didn't want to spend, or my family to spend, lots of money on a big one if I'm not going to use it. And absolutely love it, and I've done all sorts of things with it, and mainly with acrylic paint. But somebody said, oh, you can use ink, Jess, and I tried and it was rubbish. And then I watched a couple of tutorials and actually I was using them wrong, and it's really good. So let's get started. So my colour combo I'm going to go for is Sahara Sand and Cinnamon Cider. I was mainly dictated by what ribbons I had, and I've got Cinnamon Cider ribbon and I've got this braided ribbon there, which is very sort of Sahara Sandy. So that was why I chose these. Go for the lighter colour underneath and the darker colour on top. And when I normally use this, I've got a glass mat and I use it on the glass mat, but you get lots of reflection from a glass mat, so I not using that today. So this is the Stamparatus plate. That's just sort of for convenience. And so all I'm doing is putting some ink down on the plate, so it kind of sticks quite well, and then I'm just going to spritz it. I can't find my little spritzer, so yeah, I just filled me empty Stampin' Mist bottle with it. So then I've just got, I'm going to use very vanilla because it's sort of vintagey, and this is just a 1/4 sheet. I'll probably cut it down, but I'll just layer it over and I'll just rub it down. And then you just pull it up, and then you get different effects, and you get a different effect every single time you use it. So that's that. You can wipe it off, but I'm not going to. So all I'm going to do now is lay this over the top, and I'm taking my cinnamon cider, and I'm just gonna push this down, and what's going to happen is that some of the ink's going to go through the mask and some of it's going to stay on top of the mask. So you can see when you look at it, the ink has gone through it. So if I just lift that up, another good reason for having that, you can see ink through the mask, and there's ink on top of the mask. So I'm just going to lay that across, give it a bit of a wipe, maybe not go all the way to the edges, and then you get that sort of effect there. And then you can go down if you feel want a bit more, go down the edge, got a bit on that edge, pick that up, bit at the top there, so every time you do this you get a different effect, and I just think that looks really quite sort of vintagey and just a little bit different. And depending on how you pick it up, you get different effects. And I chose to go with a light colour at the back and a darker colour at the front. So that is what I've done. I want something in there, so I'm just going to go rub that down there. So I've picked something up there. Still need something there. So that's that. I'm going to leave that at that. Now this will just rinse under cold water quite easily. I've got a sink next to me. Just going to put it over there. Okay, so I'm going to trim that down to my card mat. I'm going to let it dry first because that's quite wet with the spritzing. So it's all dry now, so I'm going to trim it down to my normal card base. So I think I might take a bit off each edge. So going down to 5 5/8. That's UK card size. That fits ours. And then I'm going to take a bit off each end of this one. You could start with the actual size you wanted. I actually mistakenly cut this wrong, and I thought, well, I'll just go for it because there might be bits around the edges I don't like. So there we go. So that's my bit of card mat there. And then I'm going to do some inking, which is what I did on the other one to sort of bring in the colour from the edges. So with my cinnamon cider, take my blending brush, and I'm just gonna ink around the edges to get that sort of blended look around the edge. So in this one I did it with Coastal Cabana, and no, I didn't. Yeah, I did. And Night of Navy. So I went round the edges in Night of Navy, and then I did this on Whisper White, so there were some white bits, so I was able to sort of go over with Night of Navy to fill in some of the sort of whiter areas. So like on this one, there's some some more very vanilla there than I would maybe like, so I can take the cinnamon cider over that. So I just think that gives you kind of a look of vintage wallpaper, maybe painted walls that have maybe had a bit of painting on it that has sort of faded a bit. So that was kind of the look I was going for. And I haven't finished inking because I did a bit of an ombre effect there on the sentiment. So I used, for that one, it was a sympathy card. Sadly, I needed one of those. I'm going to go for Thinking of You with this one. And I'm just going to, I thought I had it mounted, but I hadn't. So, Thinking of You. And I'm going to stamp it in, what I did with that one is I stamped it in the lighter colour. So I'm going to go with the same way as I did for the previous card. So I stamped it in Coastal Cabana. There we go. And what I did was I took my long scissors and sort of trimmed it down. So I'm just going to go like that, and then because I want the same sort of slant, normally I eyeball it, but if you want, you can just pick up your piece, put it at the other end, and then your slant will be the same. And then just one swoop with the scissor, you can cut fairly well in a straight line. So that's my little sentiment. And then I did a little bit of an ombre effect on it with the inks. So I started, let's put a bit of the dark at that end. Just to sort of carry that sort of idea through. And then I'm going to brush that out a little bit. So I'm going to go in with Sahara Sand now at the other end. You can wash these out. Obviously, you couldn't wash them out and then use them in this one. And then I'm just going to come up the other end with this lighter colour, creating this sort of ombre effect there that sort of matches what's going on the card. So a nice little old vintage look, and you know I like a bit of vintage. So now what I need is my card mat. So I'm going to mount it on a very vanilla card base, and I'm going to add some ribbon. So what I did before was I did Night of Navy and then tied a knot in the Coastal Cabana. So I'm going to go with the same sort of colour combo there. Going to use the cinnamon cider ribbon, and I'm going to tie a knot with this braided I can't remember what it's called. It's not ribbon, but I can't remember. There we go. So I want a sentiment to go underneath, so we're going to go up about there. So turn it over. We need some Stampin' Seal. So I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on there. To hold the ribbon. So we're going up about an inch there. So always measure and then I end up changing, so I'm going to eyeball it on the other side. That's too high. I maybe should have stuck to the measuring. Still looks too high. Damn rubbish. Actually looks about, yeah, it's a bit high. Maybe measuring would have been right this time. Yeah, so that's what I want. And then I want a bit of this, and I just want to tie it in a bit of a knot. So cut a bit off, could tie in a bow, but I wanted to go with a knot. And I did think, after I tried it out, I thought, oh, great technique for my junk journals. So there we go, a little knot. So I do think this looks a bit old. And then I'm just going to get a blue dot to go underneath. Where's my little pokey tool? There we go. Oh, I might need to add these to my next order, unless I've got some in the drawer. Right, so I'm just going to go underneath where that knot is, and that'll hold that in place. And then we just need to glue that to our card base. And just a little different technique. I like to stretch my stash, get as much use out of it as possible. We'll go that way. That was a little bit bent in the corner there. So there we go. And then to stick the sentiment on, I'm just going to use some dimensionals. On here, you could of course use any greeting that you want. You could also add other little bits. I think I might add more dimensionals than I really need, Jess. I think I might put some little enamel dots on here, actually. Finish it off. So just a little thinking of you underneath there. Keep it straight. There we go. And then I've got some cinnamon cider enamel dots. There. And I'm just gonna creating a little triangle. Just to give it a little bit of something else. And that's me 2 cards. So they look quite different depending on what colour combo you use. I did think about using something like Flirty Flamingo and Magenta Madness. That would be really bright in your face. Didn't have any ribbon, that's why I didn't go for it. So I just decided to go for what ribbon I had. That would go with this. And I have made, oh, there they are. I kind of used the same technique. I was just playing with some envelopes from my junk journals, and it gives it a nice little look on there. Strong smell of coffee. That was coffee dyed. I don't coffee dye anymore because I don't like the smell, but I do tea dye. So there we go. Hope you like that. All details will be on my blog, link down below, nigezza.co.uk. Please go and have a little check out of what everybody else has done on the blog hop as well, and see what everybody else has been up to. Okay, stay safe. See you soon. Bye bye.